Okay. Here we go. Okay. People are going to start trickling in. So fun. These digital events. It's like a thing of the future. We're able to like connect at any time from anywhere, you know. Hi everybody, welcome. I see a bunch of people trickling in. Hey. Welcome. We're going to give it a few minutes, but for those of you that are here and can hear us, welcome to our event. Please, in the meantime, use our chat function. Let us know how far along you are, if you're pregnant, how old your babies are, if you are a new mom or parent, and where you're located. I mean, our panelists will not do it, but I will do it just to get started so that we can all use the function. New York City, 9 months. Oh no, he's 10 months. It's so crazy. It goes by so fast. Yeah. Okay. We're going to keep Diana, 37 weeks pregnant. Oh, welcome. Almost there. Crazy. Oh, so exciting. In Queens. Okay. Let's give. Where are you, Dr. Kennard? Are you?
I'm in California.
You're in California?
Yeah.
And Dr. Kogan and Quigley, I know you're in LA. Oh,
no.
Baby Boy. Where
Quigley,
are you? Yeah, Quigley's in LA. Where are you, Dr. Kogan?
Right now, currently, I'm actually back in New York City.
Oh, nice.
But I'm mostly on the West Coast now, yeah.
West Coast. Amazing. Raleigh, North Carolina. 28 weeks with a baby girl. Loves Nutrafol in their office. She works in NC dermatology. Amanda, 12 days postpartum. Oh my God, welcome.
Congratulations.
Tara, so exciting. Tara, 38 weeks pregnant in the San Francisco Bay Area, getting induced on Friday. Oh, best of luck. That's so exciting. Jordan, almost 36 weeks. Yay. So fun. Okay, we're going to give it a couple more minutes just to let everybody trickle in, and then we will get started. Have my water. Everybody grab your water. Get comfortable. We have a baby in attendance, which we love. All right, baby.
Ruthie likes
Hi, Ruthie. Ruthie likes your baby. I love it. I feel like it makes us feel at home. Well, you're in.
Yeah, I mean, like
you're in
so
my home too,
right? Like,
yeah.
Is she sleeping?
She is. She went to sleep.
What's her name?
Eloise Pearl.
Eloise Pearl.
She's such a sweet baby.
She's a good
almost
one.
3 months.
Oh.
Look at these chunky thighs.
Oh, they're the best when they start to get chunky.
Oh my gosh.
All those new ones, they're the best. My son's, he was born like under 6 pounds and now he has chunky thighs. And
I love it.
It's the best.
Love the folds.
Okay, guys, I think we'll get started. I think people are still trickling in, but yeah, we'll get it going. So welcome, guys. Hi, I am Nikki. I run community here at Hatch. We are so excited to welcome you guys to our panel tonight, where we will be talking about pregnancy and postpartum hair journey with some wonderful experts from Nutrafol and Quigley, a new mom. I am also a new mom. My son Ryder is almost 10 months old, which is insane. And I obviously, being head of community here at Hatch, I really am excited to be sharing my experience as well as amazing community of experts and other moms' experiences as we go through this journey to kind of inform our audience on what they can expect and prepare them for what's to come, which is such a wonderful thing. So I'm so excited. I will let all the panelists introduce themselves and then we'll get right into the conversation. Dr. Kogan, do you want to start?
Sure. I am the co-founder and chief medical advisor at Nutrafol. So I have an experience, I'm a physician, so I transitioned into being an entrepreneur and do a lot of research, conduct clinical trials, advise and the medical aspects and scientific aspects of Nutrafol, and welcome all your questions.
We're so excited. And Dr. Kennard?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Ann Kennard, and I am board certified OBGYN and also board certified and fellowship trained in integrative medicine and lifestyle medicine. And I'm also trained as an herbalist and prenatal yoga instructor, and really passionate about well-being for women in the pregnancy and postpartum time period. And this is my baby, Eloise Pearl, who is almost 3 months.
We love a baby in attendance. So cute. And last but not least, quickly.
And how do I follow that? Well, I am a social media content creator based in Los Angeles, and I'm also a new mom. My son Max just turned 1 this last weekend. We had a big party for him. And I'm also a Nutrafol partner. So I've used the product for almost 4 months now, and I'm really excited to talk about it with everybody today. So thanks for having me.
Yay. Amazing. So I just want to some lay of the land. Please use the Q&A function. If anybody has any questions with anything we speak about, we really want this to be a conversation. I'm obviously going to ask some questions around generally what happens during these different life experiences with our hair, and then kind of get into the nitty gritty of Nutrafol and how it can support you during this postpartum journey, when we can take it, what the amazing ingredients are. Because I know here at Hatch, any ingestibles are super, super important to us. We have launched, a beauty line, which we're really proud of, all the ingredients being clean. And so with the partners and the products we talk to, we are also really cognizant of that as well. So I'm really excited to share all of that knowledge and all of the information with you guys. So let's get started. So I think first and foremost, and just so everybody knows, I'm looking over here, I'm paying attention. This is just where all my questions are so that I can make sure we're getting to everything. So we're here to discuss hair journey. Obviously, as everybody knows, I am 10 months postpartum. I, naturally have thin hair. When I was pregnant, it became amazing. I was so excited. You hear about it and it's like everything you want and more. And then postpartum, I did breastfeed and pump for 6 months and, didn't experience any of that shedding or loss of hair until I stopped breastfeeding. And then it kind of was game over. And it was coming out in pretty large quantities. And I think that I have been taking Nutrafol for the past 2.5 months. I've seen such changes in just my hair is thin, but such changes in just the way it's growing back, which is so exciting. But I think to get started, what's going on, Dr. Kogan, what's going on in your body that is allowing these changes in, and Dr. Kogan and Dr. Kennard, changes in hair to happen? When these different changes are going on, why are you, getting voluptuous hair and then losing it once you stop something? Would love to just step back and understand that from a high level.
Sure. I'm going to give the broad strokes.
Yeah.
Dr. Kennard is the absolute expert in this. So what happens is that when we're pregnant, all those trophic hormones, we call them trophic because they support growth, like progesterone and estrogen, they actually go up a lot. And they kind of keep your hair in the growth phase. So a lot of the hair that was supposed to be shed doesn't shed. It's really incredible because the body is so fine-tuned to create a baby or babies that it has these automatic mechanisms. Hair is not, the biological clock of the hair gets slightly tuned in a different direction. So we have this elongated growth phase, which is really nice. But when birth happens, naturally those hormones drop very suddenly. And so they don't support the hair in that growth phase anymore. And on top of that, what we know now is that cortisol actually jumps up. So the stress hormone jumps up as a result of the physical birth. And I personally think, I don't know if Dr. Kennard agrees with this or not, I think it's probably just the way nature really made us to like have an excess amount of stress hormones so that you can handle all the stress that occurs during childbirth and afterwards. And as a result of that, we have this natural period. So the hair goes into, a lot of the hair suddenly goes into the resting phase, which is called telogen. And in that phase, it stays for about 3 to 4 months and then naturally lets go. There's no kind of way back around the circle again. So hair grows as a circle, but that doesn't go back. So once in that resting phase, it kind of is destined to fall out. And that's why a lot of times women start to see that shedding in the 3 to 4 months afterwards. You had a little bit of a different story. I know, because you had it later when but it is shown that women who breastfeeding sometimes prolongs that period of time.
But is it different depending on everyone? Like, is that like a rule of thumb, or is that something that's like, it depends on the person?
I think I'm going to let Dr. Kennard answer that question because she's seen more patients with this. But what I would say is that ultimately, no matter how you go about it, everybody's biologically unique and different. And we all have different physiology. I mean, the American Academy of the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology basically said that most women will experience that. Not necessarily all, but absolutely most women. And how they experience it is probably going to be slightly different and unique. But this is the fundamental explanation that we have, like the hormonal shift. But let's not forget there's other contributing factors such as, the physical stress of childbirth, the emotional stress of having a new routine with a baby or babies, with multiples, and then additionally some nutritional gaps that occur between prepartum and postpartum needs. So those are all going to contribute. But that sort of why are we all here today? We're talking about it because we're worried about it, right?
Yeah. And also like preparing for it.
All the pregnant women that are on here preparing for it is, I think, and I'm going to leave that up to Dr. Kennard, but I'm sure she has conversations with her patients all the time about what to expect hypothetically once you give birth.
Yeah.
And I will say,
and
even though I am a board certified OBGYN, I had delivered maybe 1,000 babies before I had my first child. She's 6 now. And I still was shocked at the handfuls of hair coming out in the drain. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be bald.
Yeah, that's how you feel. You actually feel like all of your hair is coming out. Like,
it was alarming.
It's alarming. Yeah. And it's everywhere, right? Like it's all over your house. It's
like the
everywhere.
shedding just seems so excessive. And academically, I knew that it was normal and it would grow back. The scientific name for this is telogen effluvium, or TE. And that's like what Dr. Kogan was saying, that point in the hair cycle at which it lets go kind of all of a sudden after an antecedent event. And to Dr. Kogan's point too, birth is tremendously physiologically stressful, even if things all go well. There's an expected, a pretty sizable blood loss, and the body compensates for that by increasing the blood supply by about 40% during pregnancy. We try to address nutritional gaps as best as possible with good diet and prenatal vitamins, but those continue postpartum. The cortisol, again, of just having a major physiologic event happen to you, and then you're not sleeping well. There's the emotional stress associated with this, profoundly disturbed sleep, the physiology, just that demand of breastfeeding as well, both physically and emotionally, if somebody chooses to breastfeed. And it's just a lot,
A
you
lot.
know?
It is a lot.
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
lot.
lot. And so under that lens, it makes sense to me, that this also reflects kind of the magnitude of that physiologic event, not to mention the estrogen, progesterone, those hormones go up high during pregnancy. And then once that placenta delivers, they are immediately dropped by about 900%. And so it's relative to where they were in the third trimester.
Wow.
And so that has a major shift on hair as well, and on hair shedding. So just a lot going on. And I'm so pleased to see more attention being paid to postpartum and talking about these things, because up until recently, there really hasn't been a lot of conversation or support.
And that's the whole thing, right? Like, I think it's one of the things that's it's scary, and you don't want to scare new moms, but you also, people are ashamed or embarrassed and don't want to talk about it. And like, that is part of what we're doing. Why we're doing what we're doing is to provide that information so you can get equipped with like, okay, this is going to happen. It's normal. It happens to us all. And here are some tools and some resources to get through it. So that kind of segues quickly. Do you want to like take us through like what your journey was like? I guess, as a pregnant woman, and then postpartum. And I know you have used Nutrafol and how that kind of played a role in your journey. And then we can kind of get more into when to take it, why to take it, all the good stuff too.
Sure. Actually, what you just mentioned about just sharing the information, I think for me, that was one of the biggest things that helped me, was that my sister had a baby a year before me. And so she was able to really kind of communicate all the nitty gritty things that people don't necessarily always talk about. I had no idea hair loss is a thing.
No idea. Nobody talks about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like pooping on the bed during birth. Like nobody like
Yeah,
it's like these things that could happen that you don't know until like you have to know, or you do it.
Absolutely. I remember her calling me and being like, dude, all my hair is falling out. I'm like in the shower pulling out handfuls. And so I feel like I was mentally able to prepare myself for that. And I think hopefully one of the reasons why you had me here is because one of the things I talk about most on my social media is mental health.
Yep.
And
while part of it.
I was pregnant, I was taking an antidepressant, an SSRI, and I didn't know how that was going to affect everything, and especially with my anxiety and the way that it presents itself, it has a lot to do with my self-confidence. And when you're pregnant, so much is changing in your body, so much is changing on emotional level, that expressing yourself and being confident is tricky when you feel like crap.
Not like yourself at all. Yeah.
Yeah. When I mean, let's not lie. Hair is a big part of we feel confident.
Yep.
And when you have handfuls of it coming out, you're like, it feels like a panicky moment. It feels sometimes like you're living in a horror movie. So
a little bit.
Able to relate with people in an honest way about what's going on and be able to talk to my audience. As I was having these experiences, I was able to jump on my stories and say, this is happening to me. And I'm so thankful for the community of Instagram, but I was able to have a lot of conversations with moms, but so many moms don't have that, access to that ability to instantly, connect with other moms who are going through the exact same thing at the exact same time. So for me, just discussing it and being open about it and not being ashamed, but just being curious about what was going on in my body was really, really wonderful. And then when I found Nutrafol, I was so excited because, you hear about other hair growth situations, and They don't seem clean. They seem kind of sketchy. They seem like you have to go jump through a lot of hoops to get access to them. And there are a lot of side effects to some. And this was just a really great option.
Yeah.
And I had a bunch of other moms start trying it at the same time as me on Instagram. So we've been all able to kind of share our stories back and forth, and that's been really wonderful.
Well, yeah, I thank you so much for using that platform. I mean, Instagram is definitely a tool that I think moms and, new parents have used, and, it can be harmful in some ways, but it can also be really helpful in some ways when you have people that are sharing their actual real and authentic experience. So I really appreciate you doing that. And that's kind of the hope here, is like, nothing's off the table. We're here to share, like, obviously our perspective, but also equip you with the knowledge to kind of get through it. So, Dr. Kennard, I'd love to get into, I think you talked about what the root causes of, hair thinning and all of that. Why, and Dr. Kogan, you can answer this as well, like, why did you create a postpartum option to Nutrafol? And like, where did that come from? And then I would love to get into like, when is the best time to start taking it? We saw this a lot from actually our community that submitted some questions in terms of like, do I take it while I'm pregnant? Do I take it right after I give birth? Do I take it while I'm breastfeeding? So if we can touch on that, that would be great. Dr. Cody, you want to take it to start?
I'll tell you a little bit about why we created, and
Great.
then I think Dr. Kennard can tell you a little bit more about the specifics of how it was created.
Amazing.
So it was really exciting for us, and we have I think unlike men, women have these very particular stages in life that are associated with a lot of hormonal changes, and likewise with a lot of shedding and thinning. So it's not to say that it doesn't happen all the time, but there are specific stages in life when that happens in women. And that is because of the hormones. They shift every month for us, but they also shift in these particular life stages. So for us, it was really important. We had a product for women, a general product for women that you could take from 18 and older. And because we do see a lot of women starting to shed earlier now, and probably because of stress or a lot of different, environmental factors. But also we have a menopausal product, which actually is for women who are going through the transition of menopause, which is another taboo topic. So not a lot of people talk about it, and not a lot of people have conversations about it. And for us, it was very very important to create that product as well. And that actually just showed very good clinical data and those people are really feeling a lot more confident, to have elevated self-esteem. And not only did it show hair growth, but so there's a lot to be excited about. And we're all going to hit that stage in life at some point. So so when it came down to having these two, the postpartum really completed that sort of life cycle or life journey of a woman for us, and how we could support her through each and every single stage. So how can we make her feel more confident? How can we ensure that during those times of transition for her hair and her hair health and just transition in general, that she can be fully supported? So the postpartum was really just the missing piece, and we're very excited about it. I worked very much around with Anne, with Dr. Kennard on this, and I'm going to let her talk a little bit about the ingredients and about about what are the specifics of how we created it and why and how it could be taken.
Yeah, definitely talk about. I think everybody would be interested in like why certain ingredients are in there, and when should we start trying to take it to kind of get. I think a lot of the questions were like, how do I get ahead of it? Like, I don't want it to start, and I don't know that that's if we can fully stop it, but like, go for it and let us know all the tips and tricks.
Also, because I just really want to hear the baby more now.
Exactly.
Every time you're
so
highlighted
well
on my
behaved
screen,
She's also
Every
so
time you're
well
highlighted
behaved.
on my screen, I'm just wanna
I know, right?
eat her.
She's so sweet. No, it was really my pleasure to be involved in the formulation with this product because I loved the other Nutrafol products and had recommended them since they came out for my menopausal gals. And those patients had reported really good success with them. But during pregnancy and postpartum and lactation, oh baby,
You're okay, baby.
um, you know, it's just so important to have high fidelity for safe ingredients. Everything needs to be just extensively researched. We want to use things that really there's no question about. The safety data is solid. And so that's where we started with the Nutrafol postpartum product. And I'm so proud of what made it in there because it is so well researched. It was something that I felt comfortable taking myself and, giving to my loved ones. And in particular, I loved that it had a blend of ancient wisdom and modern wisdom together. So one of the main ingredients in it is shatavari or shatavari, which is asparagus root, and it is an Ayurvedic herb used in India, written records at least 5,000 years, and used for the postpartum transition. And so, obviously a very long history of use and safety data. And it used to improve the stress response. And we see that then also combined with L-theanine, which is one of the active ingredients in green tea, is part of why green tea gives you kind of that calming effect. And then adding in nettles, which is another very common pregnancy and postpartum herb, high in iron. I talked a little bit about that expected blood loss. That's a nice way.
My doula always told me to drink nettles tea.
Nettles tea.
Right before and then postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. Because of those ingredients, are there benefits outside of hair growth that you could experience?
Mm-hmm. Yes, each ingredient on its own has a long history of use. And in particular, like the nettles and the shatavari have been used by herbalists across the globe. And then we look at some of these potent antioxidants, several of those in there, and then other vitamins filling in common nutritional gaps. And it really does a nice job of addressing not only the hair growth per se, but the reasons behind it, and helping women recover postpartum in general. You're not just your hair, you need to feel good too and have, restful sleep and hopefully feel calm, be nutritionally sound. And the postpartum time is a tough time. Historically, we had villages and circles of women, and it's kind of neat to see how the social world, like Instagram, has provided sort of a virtual circle, if you will.
And what we're doing here, we have a ton of pregnant and postpartum women joining here to learn about it's the new world of it, right?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But to your point, it used to be all hands on deck to support mom.
Right. And so I was just thrilled with how the formulation came together, the safety and the efficacy, not just for hair shedding, but for supporting women in that 4th trimester and beyond.
And when can you start taking it? So can you take it during, I know it's the Nutrafol postpartum, but is it something you can take while you're pregnant? Can you take it while you're breastfeeding? When do you recommend taking it? For how long? When do you transition to maybe another Nutrafol? anything about kind of the different products and like when you can take them to kind of mitigate that postpartum hair loss?
Yeah, my opinion on this, and we'll see, I'd love to hear from Dr. Kogan too. I would recommend starting it after birth. It is breastfeeding friendly. All the ingredients in there have been rigorously researched for their breastfeeding data. And if someone took it during pregnancy, honestly, I think it's fine. All of those botanicals in there have a Class A safety rating. That being said, it's intended to be a postpartum product. And to clarify, like we were diving into the pathophysiology a little bit earlier, the telogen effluvium, or that big hair shedding, is a normal event. And it's because you haven't shed those hairs essentially during your pregnancy. And so the point is not necessarily to prevent that event, because that's an expected event, but to be able to recover that hair growth better, faster. Yeah. Dr. Kogan, the gaps.
Yeah. So I agree. I mean, the only thing that I will say is that Dr. Kennard said something, because she can practice in her practice. She can advise women to take it whenever her patients to take it when she feels is right. However, as a brand, we recommend that it's taken only postpartum. That's the only difference. But and as a representative of the brand, I have to be careful to say that, we don't necessarily recommend taking it during pregnancy. Again, individually, people can decide to work with their physician if their physician is integratively trained, like Dr. Kennard. I know not too many are, so that's always hard to find such a specialist. But so I think during pregnancy, what Quigley was saying was completely right. Just knowing that it's going to occur and it has a strong possibility of occurring, I think is the way you prepare for it. Is the right way of preparing, because knowing it is half the battle. So like expecting it as opposed to being slammed with this all of a sudden and not knowing where it's coming from, you are ultimately having a lot more of that stress being taken away. Just knowing that it's a transition, it's a process. Not to make it any less emotionally taxing or scary, but I think it's that conversation that's going to definitely shape how you feel when it does occur. And I think that the safety, we also included a lot of botanicals in the formulation that are known to support hair growth. And so that the good news is that I think Dr. Kennard hit on that a little bit, is that while we're not able to change the course, right, we're hopefully able to support you through that for you to come out of it sooner. Because a lot of women, what happens is that they experience it afterwards and they're not able to come back to they talk about this all the time. Oh, I actually never got my hair back to where it was.
That was
and
me.
Yeah.
And
so that's what
I
can
think
happen. Yeah.
But I think that happens because all the same triggers, such as emotional and physical stress and the nutritional gaps, they can also, prevent good recovery, prevent you from growing your hair. So
Totally.
I think the importance is to focus on not only minimizing shedding, but also improving the recovery. And I think that is really key and important. That's what we have to think about mostly, is how do we go, get through this transition and recover fully.
And it's about, like, to Quigley's point, like mental health, right? Like if you are prepared and to expect it, like your stress is going to be less. Like you're not going to be in like this fight or flight mode, because you're like, okay, like this is going to happen. I'm like, I know that. What can I do? Like this is what I'm going to do to try and stop it from happening as long, or combat that with some of these, with the supplement that can help, which is awesome.
And I think another thing that I wanted to mention, quickly, sorry, and is that it was specifically formulated so that you could continue taking your your prenatals. Because a lot of times I
Oh,
think
that's great to know.
OBGYNs will recommend that you continue taking your prenatal vitamins postnatally. However, there is that gap that happens between prenatal and postnatal period, and the needs are slightly different. So it is specifically formulated so that you don't have to choose between what your doctor tells you and what you would like to do for your hair. So you could do both. And also that, like you said, breastfeeding friendly. So you could start right away. And it's meant to be continued through a year afterwards. And then you can switch to another formulation if you're not breastfeeding at that point.
I actually there's a question that came in. Someone, hi Nikki, takes Nutrafol for women every day for hair loss unrelated to postpartum and has been for years. It really works. So it's a customer response. Is the Nutrafol for postpartum a different set of ingredients, or is it more or less the same? So I guess the question is, if you are taking already should you switch if you are now postpartum, and what are the differences in ingredients across the different products?
The differences, they're very different because there's a lot of ingredients in Nutrafol women that we could use that haven't been tested in breastfeeding women, and so are not necessarily meant to be, for that postpartum, specifically targeting that postpartum period of time. So what I would recommend is if you're taking Nutrafol and it's working for you, that's amazing. I'm really happy about that. And so if you get pregnant or you're planning a pregnancy, you stop taking it. Take your prenatals during your pregnancy, and then afterwards, or you get some, an OBGYN that's like Dr. Kennard, who can advise you on all sorts of other things that you can be doing. But if you're not so lucky, just take your prenatals and as recommended by your doctor, and then afterwards you can start taking the specifically the postpartum.
Amazing.
And then you can ultimately go back to that other product again.
Amazing.
Once you stop breastfeeding.
Another question, and I might butcher what this is, but can you take it together with a topical minoxidil? Is it better to do it that way? I don't know if that's something else. I don't know if you know what that is, Dr. Kennard or Kogan.
Dr. Kennard.
Yeah, minoxidil is not recommended during breastfeeding, and so I would defer that. That's a topical treatment like brand name Rogaine, some might be familiar with. And so in that sense, not using them together, since the postpartum product often is used during the breastfeeding time.
Right. And it's safe too, versus something else.
If you're not breastfeeding and your dermatologist recommends using minoxidil, then I think it's okay. There is no contraindication because it's topical versus ingestible that could be used together. A lot of people use them for not with our other products. But I would say, definitely speak to your doctor too.
Yeah. I guess one thing I guess it's not just about hair on your head. Somebody asked about my eyelashes being super full, which is that's amazing. My baby actually has really thick eyelashes, which I'm so jealous of. And now they're falling out. Is that something you see as well? And, is that something that happens during, pregnancy, postpartum, in terms of hair all over the body? I know we're just seeing it because it probably is the biggest amount on our head that we're seeing it in chunks there. But are you seeing that as well in other forms of hair on the body? Dr. Kogan, or either one of Dr. Kogan?
Dr. Kennard, do you see that in your practice?
Do you see it?
I haven't had patients specifically mention that, but generally that growth phase is, for all the hair on the head doesn't have a different biological clock, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just long, so you notice when it falls out.
You notice. Is there anything I guess for me, it was falling, I stopped breastfeeding and it was kind of falling out in chunks, and then it did stop. Is there anything to be alarmed about? Is there a certain time period as which your hair stop, it should happen and then it should stop? Is there anything to kind of look out for? in terms of this change in the body, postpartum specifically?
That's a good question. I would say that generally that telogen effluvium hair shedding event should wrap itself up for the most part, at least in about 12 weeks, 3 months or so.
Okay.
If it's continuing, and certainly if it's accompanied by other bothersome symptoms such as weight loss, heart palpitations, heart racing, insomnia, that's definitely something you want to go see the doctor for, because sometimes thyroid issues can also contribute to hair changes in the postpartum period. And there's a number of other diagnoses to consider as well. And so I would say if it's continuing to profusely shed past about 3 months, to mention it to either your OB or your primary care physician.
Right. And talk about it. That's great to know. One other question, and I wonder if this is an ingredient. Is there amla in Nutrafol? Is amla in Nutrafol?
Not in the postpartum.
Not in the postpartum. Okay.
Yeah,
And
amla
then,
is a fruit, an astringent Indian fruit, traditionally used in a triphala formulation. That's not traditionally used during pregnancy and not included in our formulation.
yeah. Okay, great. And this is an awesome question. Are there recommended lifestyle decisions that can complement the supplement's efficacy? So like, do you recommend like dietary, anything else to kind of help with this postpartum? I know you touched on a lot of the ingredients that are in Nutrafol, but is there anything else like to supplement that? I love that.
Yeah,
Great question for Dr. Kennard.
I love that question.
Right?
It's from an integrative and holistic sense, looking at someone from all measures. And so obviously your sleep is disrupted with a newborn, but is there a way to improve it? Having the village around, so to speak, or a partner that can help with getting you a chunk of uninterrupted sleep. If it's possible to get even 3 to 4 hours, that's going to make a huge difference in the recovery. Making sure that you have a community around, other people to share what you're going through, making sure that hopefully you're able to approach more of a whole foods, plant forward type diet, getting lots of fresh, healthy foods. And in particular, I'm a fan of soups in the postpartum period, traditionally very nourishing, and Chinese medicine and Ayurveda, easy to digest.
Right. Like stuff that's not like hard on the body. So you're not like, it's not working in overload while it's trying to recover.
Right. Lots of fluid, for milk making, if somebody is doing that. Oats are nice for that too. Ginger tea, things that are warming to the body after going through such an event. I'm also a big fan of meditation, and in particular, like you mentioned, knowing what's happening and sitting with it and saying, okay, like this is what's happening right now, and trying not to attach all of the, well, what if it never stops? What about this? What about that? Kind of letting the train run off the tracks. And
I have a recommendation there.
I was just going to ask anything.
I leading through my pregnancy and postpartum period, had an app called Mindful Mamas. And it was guided meditations for each stage, and it was so incredible. So write that down.
Amazing. I was going to ask.
I have another one. There's another one. It's called Expectful.
Expectful is also a great one too.
It's really good. Yeah,
they're really good. And I was so much better when I was pregnant. I feel like I needed it while I was postpartum. I wish I did it postpartum, but I definitely did it pregnant, and it definitely helped me ground myself. Did you quickly? You did it postpartum too?
I did it both. During my pregnancy, I actually would do it on the sitz bath. And after
pregnancy, you would do a sitz bath pregnant?
My midwife had me do it leading up to birth, and a lot of people were like, why? And she swears by it. So
I mean, it saved me. If anybody doesn't know what a sitz bath is, it's an herb blend that you kind of sit on to like help you relax, right?
well, so
Or, like you
sit
tell me
back
about it.
is the chair, right?
It's the act of the
You put in it.
herbs and a mixture to kind of like cleanse out the but I thought it was something to help heal from a vaginal birth, but I didn't know that you could do it
Use
during
both
pregnancy.
ways.
It can use
You
both
know,
ways.
Yeah, a sitz bath in a more conventional sense
Yeah.
is just a few inches of water with some salt in it, generally Epsom salt. And herbs are traditionally used, although if you're not getting integrative or midwifery care, people are sometimes unfamiliar with the herbs. But even just having the lukewarm water and the Epsom salt in there will decrease swelling and pain, and really beautiful way to care for your bottom after giving birth.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. I love that. Okay. I mean, I think we covered a lot of it. Dr. Kogan, is there anything else you kind of want to leave the group with around why you created this product? I mean, I thank you for really broadening this conversation, because to your point, this is a really big point in a woman's journey, between just becoming a woman and then that menopause. So I love that you guys created this. Is there anything else you kind of wanted to touch on before we go in terms of the why behind it, I guess? I think we covered a lot, and I
think we covered it already.
Yeah.
I'm just really grateful that we got Dr. Kennard involved. This is the first time anybody involved in OBGYN and developing a postpartum hair formulation. So definitely proud of us for
and to say like there's nothing really out there that's offering this, which
things
is
out there that are not breastfeeding friendly.
Right.
There are some, there's definitely a very limited conversation around it and very limited I would say options. So I am pretty proud of us and how we came together to do it and partnered with physicians and I think safety is the most highest priority for women who 100%. Are expecting and breastfeeding. And that was really the highest priority for us as well, being able to find the most appropriate ingredients for this. And the why is really because, I think I touched upon it. I think we all, we want to be able to be there at every stage, at every age, and at every transition,
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And support moms and parents through this time. I can't, Dr. Kennard. She is so delicious. It's like driving me so crazy. Cute. Anything else you want to add about? I know it's like I just want to squeeze her. I want to squeeze her, and like I'm upset. Ryder's asleep right now because all I want to do is squeeze him by like looking at her. So but anything you want to add? I know you're in the postpartum period. Anything you want to leave the group with in terms of this product and just the postpartum time period? I think we can all probably say like just be kind to yourself. It's really hard, like it is, and
it is.
It's just hard, and continue to ask questions and take care of yourself and ask for help. Really, if somebody's asking to give you help, take it, because like you need to take care of yourself. I think there's a lot of once you give birth, it's about the baby.
I know.
I think that's like as an OB, like you don't see mom until 6 weeks, and that's a whole other topic we can talk about. But that's for another day. Thankfully. But really take care of yourself, because like what our bodies do is really magical, and the baby is obviously important, but so are you. To be able to be the best mom and best parent, you got to take care of yourself.
That's exactly what I wanted to say when you asked Dr. Kogan, why this was made. And I just immediately thought, because you matter, like moms matter, you deserve to be supported. And
I love that.
it's not like you're a candy bar that like you take the like baby out and like throw the wrapper away.
It sometimes feels that
I
way.
love that analogy.
I know, it really sometimes feels that way. It really does. And I hope that we can kind of continue that conversation and change that narrative and really just like look out for each other and support one another so that we can continue making babies and being healthy and being happy and all the good things, because they're amazing, but we got to be there to do it.
Women are amazing.
Right? Quigley, anything you can add? I thank you for just being so open, especially to your community. And again, I know Instagram can be a tough place I can get into a hole and see what's out there and be like, oh my God, how is she doing this? How is this happening? That looks so perfect. And so I really commend you and thank you for being a real one. Cause like, I do think it's really important as like this generation comes up to know that like we are all human, and 9 times out of 10 what you see on Instagram is like one fraction of what's happening in that day, and it's that perfect picture that just you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So I encourage you to take a minute from it, but also follow people like Quigley that are sharing like the good things and the real things, because it's really important.
Yeah, and what you can do on an individual level, if you're pregnant right now and you're going through stuff, be transparent with your friends. Like if you haven't had a baby before, like tell them,
talk about it,
all the things.
Yeah.
You don't want to psych people out too much. Tell them the beautiful things, but tell them the things that you might feel embarrassed to, because if you're brave or you're courageous and you're transparent about your experiences, that could change someone's perspective of pregnancy. And I think the hardest part on a mental level is just the surprise. So if you can take the surprise element out of it for someone else, it's just a wonderful way to support each other through the coolest things ever. And then, I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
Something just that really helped me through this whole experience was just after I gave birth. I said this every day to my son, and I don't know if this is going to help anyone, but every day I say thank you for being my baby. And every day with you is the best day of my life.
I love that.
Just really helped me through everything, and just a reminder that the day that I was living in was the most important time, because you have to spend a lot of time thinking about being somewhere that you're not, because you're not used to having a baby on you 24 hours a day. But if you can remember that like the current moment that you're in is the one that future you might look back on and be like, if I could only go back to having that sleeping baby on my chest for just one moment.
Right? Like this. I can't.
I know. That's why
I know. And being grateful. I'm grateful for you guys. Thank you so much for this panel, and to our community for showing up and wanting to be part of that conversation and hopefully push it forward in the right direction. I thank you. We will be sending some details following the event about Nutrafol. And yeah, thanks to everybody. I really appreciate it. And have a wonderful night.
Thank you so much for doing this, organizing it, and for having us.
Guys.
So much.
Enjoy the babies. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.